Okay, so we last left off in Bali, and I've been spending way too much of my time doing meaningless shit and procrastinating, and I'm actually planning my trip for this coming summer, for next month, and I haven't even finished going through content from this past summer. Anyways, we're still vibing. I don't have a return flight back to the US yet, but I made a quick stop in Singapore after Bali to visit my friend Tong, who happened to be there at the same time. I'm not really sure what we did. I think if you ask any guy what they did when they come back from hanging out with friends, they'll all say they did nothing, and we're not lying. We actually have no idea what we did. Anyways, after doing nothing in Singapore, I made my second to last stop in Tokyo, and I can tell you with certainty what I did in Japan. I ate good. Japanese food is good shit, man. Even the food at the 7-Eleven goes unnecessarily hard. Like, people will buy plane tickets across the ocean just to eat there. I'm gonna pause for a second so that we can be comforted by the familiar sounds of a Japanese subway station. So, after visiting a friend who lived in Tokyo and shocking the respectful, modest Japanese patrons at a restaurant with how much I could eat at all-you-can-eat sushi, I went to the airport and went to my last stop, which was Seoul. And now I actually do have a plane ticket home because I had to buy one. So my company actually has an office in Korea, so I was able to work out of there for a couple days and extend my Asia trip. And one of my requests to my coworkers was that they take me to those places that have no English words anywhere, like in the menus, on the restaurant name, on the restaurant sign itself. And when you're in one of those joints, man, the food bangs. I've been traveling for 6 weeks now, I think 6 or 7 weeks, and I didn't really have time to plan out that much stuff to do while I was in Korea because I had to catch up on a bunch of work. I was homeless. I was waiting to see what my new apartment in SF would be. One thing I had to do was all that beauty stuff that Korea is famous for, and my coworker's boyfriend owns a beauty spa, so I was like, yeah, I'm happy to support your business. So they gave me a scalp treatment, and I had never done a scalp treatment before. Like, this lady was just clawing and scraping at my scalp, and my hair is really short anyways at this time, so I'm not sure if I noticed a difference, but I mean, I'd be down to do it again. And every day after dinner, people just stay up late and drink. I think I'm super stressed out from work, but I think this entire city is super fucking stressed out from the work culture there. I know a lot of my friends have been to K-Town in New York, which is more like K-Street, but where we were was like K-City, and I guess it was because it was Seoul in Korea. Unfortunately, after 6 weeks of playing and eating from France to Bali to Singapore to Tokyo to Seoul, it is time to go back home to the US, and I booked a return flight way later than I should have, but I finally know where I'm going to go back to in San Francisco and where my next apartment lease is going to be. And on my way there, after landing at the airport, I could literally feel the depression setting into my veins and every fiber of my being, but that's not the way we want to go about this, so I'm really looking forward to this next year in SF, which will be year 2, and I'm moving in with my boys from college, and I'm convinced that we bring out the best, most mature versions of each other. So here's to a year of being the best, most mature version of myself. Anyways, before we can even get there, we need to turn this house into a home, and we all moved all of our stuff into this place, and we're not really sure how to do the interior, so that's going to take a bit of time. So I'm going to save the grand reveal for later. Once again, we find ourselves having to head to the airport, this time for a work trip to LA, and it's actually raining in San Francisco right now, so pretty lucky to be heading to SoCal where it's 80. And then I remembered why I actually don't like going to LA for work trips, because our office is dangerously close to Skid Row. Of course, I want to spend as little time there as possible, so in and out we go, back to San Francisco, and we land in time, just in time actually, for a friend's birthday surprise. And then the day after, we head to Portola. Now, I would describe this music festival as maxing out one of the stats, like one of your attributes in a video game when you're creating a character, because they spend $0 on production and anything, and 100% of their money on booking top talent. Overall, vibes are great. I got to see a lot of my favorite acts like Chris Lake and Dom Dalla and Skrillex. Talk about a blast from the past. Day 2 is more of the same. The music is bumping, the drinks are flowing, the vibes are vibing. There's a lot of pain in the world, but not in this room. Not tonight. Though as soon as the festi was over, the pain returned to this room, which is fine, because it's September in San Francisco, and that's the only month of the year that we get actual good weather and sunlight. We live on a pretty high floor, so we get treated to a bird's eye view, literally, of Fleet Week, and we got all sorts of jets and helicopters zooming around our place. And obviously, before we've even fully moved into our place and made it a home, we have to throw a housewarming party. I'm gonna blur out the next part because nobody really wants to see that carnage. And I'll admit there was a time when I was in college where I thought that lining up empty liquor bottles as house decor was super cool, but those aren't exactly the vibes that I'm trying to give off now. Went to a block party to see Zoo and Deadmau5. It was mid. Also, in the theme of new beginnings, I went to Bill Graham for the first time ever in my life as someone who grew up in the Bay Area. And then I went for my second time the week after. I'm not really proud of myself for that, of course, but the week after that was my birthday, and I was proud to have made it this far, 27 years in life without pissing too many people off and keeping all of my limbs. For the actual powwow, I got a table at John's Summit. And so began 27, and we have another year of cooking ahead of us. So buckle up. But you don't really have to because we don't really cook that hard. You can kind of tell at this time of year that the number of good days that you have left is fading fast, and we actually have to welcome the president of China to San Francisco, so I've never seen the streets this clean, I've never seen this many barriers set up, and I've never seen the prime minister of Singapore who showed up at Fogo de Chao and they kicked our entire party out, which was nice. By the way, this is Kamala Harris's motorcade. I was trying to run after it to see if I could actually catch a glimpse of her through the tinted windows, but I was physically stopped, so did not catch a glimpse. Did catch a glimpse of Trey Songz and Porter Robinson, and I will say rappers do that one thing that's really annoying, which is show up 2 hours late and lip sync a few lyrics a couple times and then dip. By now the year is rapidly coming to an end, and I have to say bye to a friend that's moving from SF to New York, and that pipeline is still full and flowing. He lives right next to the Waymo graveyard, so it's pretty cool to see all of the driverless cars and the dystopia that's coming. It took 3 months, but I'm pretty happy with the way the place is coming together. It finally feels like it's becoming a home. Unfortunately now it's gonna be gray and depressing for the next couple months, so we have no choice but to lock in and resort to one of the only two proven cures for depression, the first of which is going to music festivals and the second of which is going to Asia. So within the span of 3 months, I find myself on a plane heading to Asia for New Year's in Taipei. So that's where I'll leave you this time, coming back from Asia for my boys trip that became a Landon trip to my new home in SF and back to Asia. See y'all in 2024.